Welcome back to our 67th consecutive weekly edition of 5 Minutes at the Frat House. Coming at you exclusively from right here at the Frat House, Eagleville, with Frat House Mike and Sidekick. How do you like this one? December 13th, huh, Sidekick? We're just 12 days away from Christmas. Have you gone and seen Santa? Asked him for what you wanted for Christmas? You know,
no,
like maybe, you know, I'm thinking, wait, hold on. I'm thinking, you know, you'd want a Super Bowl championship for the Rams. Maybe a new quarterback for the Rams. Maybe another World Series win.
Oh, I got it.
Hold on. I got it. I know exactly. Whatever you'd want, it would have to have cheerleaders. I know that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely have to have cheerleaders.
It's a major award.
Absolutely cheerleaders involved.
Well, let me tell you, I have a little bit of a Christmas wish myself. This one final time. I will bring it up. And it has a little something to do with the NHL. Now, look, I'm gonna promise here this evening, I'm not gonna let the veins in my neck stick out, and I'll try not to let my face get too red, because I already know that I've been on record numerous times over the past number of months over the whole NHL and NHLPA situation and the lockout. But I felt that during this special, joyous Christmas holiday season, that I would send out some very special greetings to all of those involved over at the NHL and the NHLPA. For nearly 4 months now, the NHL and NHLPA have traded so many proposals and counter-proposals that, well, I've kind of lost count. They've had federal mediators involved that they've dismissed after, just about 2 or 3 days. They've had player-owner-only meetings, and each time it's had the same result. Gary Bettman and the owners have indicated that the players need to concede more. Donald Fair and the players want certain contractual guarantees and what they feel is their fair share of the pie, which generally means that it needs to be more than 50% of the hockey-related revenue. Last week, however, though, fans had their hopes buoyed one more time as rumors began to circulate on Monday and Tuesday of secret meetings that were taking place. There was talk that Bettman and company had broken a bit and that they were making a proposal that was closer to what the players had been demanding all along. And has occurred so many times over the past number of months, all of us who are fans, well, we got optimistic. Well, that all evaporated last Thursday when Gary Bettman broke off all talks with the NHLPA, claiming to the press and the media that owners, when they were told, were visibly shook and shocked by the players' prompt dismissal of the latest proposal. Allegedly, the major difference at this point right now is about $100 million, which the players claim they have to have. As fans have reeled over the past number of months, blaming one side or the other, suddenly, after this final situation that occurred last week, it seemed that all of us were singularly pointing our fingers at Donald Fair and the players, the side that many felt the NHL needed to acquiesce to. Now let's sum this all up for just a second. As fans, we have lost nearly half the season. We've lost the Winter Classic. We've lost the All-Star Game. But here's the most ironic and asinine part of the whole situation. The players have lost more than the net income loss that they would have had to have absorbed had they simply accepted the very first proposal the NHL had submitted to them prior to the lockout on September 16th. Think about that, and I want you to let that sink in for a moment. The players have lost more now than any of the concessions that they would have had to have made under any of the NHL proposed CBAs. And yet the players have not rebelled against Donald Fair. As a result of all these recent circumstances, Gary Bettman and the NHL announced this past Monday that all scheduled games through December 31 are now officially canceled. Well, congratulations, Don Fair. Your guys now lose even more. It now seems a damn near conclusion that the season will ultimately be wiped out. And to me, it just seems it's a matter of days, in my opinion. I have stated numerous times that after the lockout that wiped out the season of 2004, that it took me until 2007 to return to the game and the sport that I have loved for many, many years. I have been an NHL fan. I played hockey. And I have been a Philadelphia Flyers fan since 1974. That's 39 years, Gary Bettman. That's 39 years, Donald Fair. This is a sport that is frequently referred to as the fourth in the country. As it's becoming more and more obvious to me that this season is now a loss, I'm putting you on notice, Gary Bettman and Donald Fair. If it took me 3 years to return the last time, I guarantee you it will take me much longer this time. Oh, and one more thing. Bettman, take notice. Donald Fair, take notice. Ed Snyder, take notice. That's my statement for this evening.
A tissue?
Thank you very much. Let's go over and take a look at our Facebook post of the week, which kind of ties in a little bit.
Yep.
Following the disappointing developments in the NHL and NHL negotiations last week, I posted a comment up on the Frat House Facebook page, the Frat House, Eagleville, by the way, for all of you out there. And I posted up a comment that said basically the NHL and NHLPA have played a long-running game of Russian roulette. The gun just went off in the heads of the few remaining steadfast fans, and now we're dead. Well, that post got the most comments and the most views by our fan base, and I want to let all of you know that that is greatly appreciated. Keep those posts coming. And listen, one more thing. If each one of you out there, and we've gotten a few new fans. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yep.
We've got
three this week.
Yeah, we've gotten quite a few new fans just this week. But if each one of you went out and got us just one or two of your friends or family to join the Frat House Eagleville over at Facebook, that would be a terrific Christmas gift for us. We'd appreciate it. Thanks so much. Alrighty. Hey, how about some little NFL action? Let's go take a look at the NFL.
There we go.
Let's take a look at a few events that have occurred leading into Week 15. But before we get to our picks, Sidekick, I wanted to get your read on a recent development. Now, it occurred the other day. Former NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue had been asked, I guess it was quite a few months ago, I think it was like back in October or so,
Yep.
by current Commissioner Roger Goodell, to bring an outside perspective to the whole New Orleans Saints bounty gate controversy and the subsequent sanctions that were imposed upon those players. Well, Tagliabue, with just 3 games now remaining in the season, released his decision this week, and to me, it was a bit of a shocker, I will be honest. He basically indicated that the suspensions and fines, of course, let me correct that. There weren't any fines, but suspensions against the cited players involved should be expunged. All right, so they don't exist any longer.
Yep.
Now, I know that you've got your opinions on this specific development because you made some comments on the post that I put up the other night
Yes.
on our Frat House page, on our Frat House Facebook page. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to give all of us your read on this. Go.
Well, here's the thing. I went online to good old NFL.com, and I got the 22-page full decision by Paul Tagliabue. And I differ in opinion. You say the decision makes Goodell look foolish, like a horse's ass.
That was my words.
Etc.
Correct.
And after, and my initial read from reading some of the articles were that, I kind of differed and said, I don't think it necessarily makes Goodell look bad. Mm-hmm. But knowing we were going to talk about this, I said, well, let me go read the 22 pages and find out instead of reading reporters' interpretations and that. So I read through this, and I still think that Goodell does not come out looking foolish because Tagliabue walks a very tight rope with this whole thing. And he basically puts it on the Saints coaches, says the players were guilty of participating in the programs, but vacated the suspensions based on the erratic discipline pattern of how, here these guys are, they're not on field activities. They're talking about in meetings and doing things that are detrimental to the game, but they weren't on field. What's the word I'm looking for?
In game.
Yeah, in game, rule breaking. So based on that, he said he vacated the suspensions because he didn't think the suspensions were essentially a just punishment for what was happened, which is why he left the fines in place.
Okay, but let me go back to my initial contention, and that is that you've got a former NFL commissioner coming in and basically telling the current NFL commissioner, hey, dude, you made a mistake. This is all wrong. How is that not making Goodell look like a horse's ass? I mean, he essentially usurped his authority.
Well, no. Part of it is you have to actually read the language in his decision. Because one glaring thing that came out to me after reading this was he uses the word arbitrator. And
see, I'm gonna have issues with this, but go ahead.
He uses the word arbitrator and then goes on to cite other union cases where an arbiter was brought in. So
he was independent, Sidekick. This guy's the former commissioner. You can't tell me that the former commissioner of the NFL can walk. I don't give a damn what his position or title is that he's adorned with. There is no way that he can walk into this being the former commissioner and being independent. There is no way.
I'm not saying he's independent.
Well,
I'm saying he's an arbitrator.
An arbitrator would be somebody that's independent.
So basically, what he did was he negotiated. He listened to both sides, and he came up with a decision that was right.
Why is this negotiable?
Because neither side would back off of this. So it went when both.
So what? For all intent and purpose, what we've essentially done is we have stripped the commissioner of basically his authority. That's basically what we've done here. Because we're saying, okay, now it's negotiable. Now if the commissioner comes down and says something or makes a decision, we can now bitch and moan about it long enough that, okay, suddenly now it's a negotiable issue. I mean, I don't get this. I don't see where Goodell, in my opinion, came out of this looking very, very badly. And this was a guy that he went and appointed to look into his own matters. I mean, to me, the whole thing is just bizarre. I mean, I said it yesterday. I said it's convoluted. That's the word I used. And to me, it's convoluted.
And that's what it is. Because in one hand, he's saying the players are all guilty. But the punishment isn't fair. So that's why I say he walked a very tight line because it's almost an Alfred plea. Honestly, I'm guilty, but you're getting off for time served.
And you don't think that makes Goodell look bad?
No, I don't. Because in his language, what Tagliabue says is there is in matters of this, where precedents are not set, it's better to...
What, error on the side of...
No. It's better to go with a softer hand. He actually uses the term a velvet glove. And he also cites back to the 80s with the steroids, where there was a year where where the commissioner came out at the time, Rizal, I believe it's Rizal, came out and he said, okay, steroids are banned.
Right.
The first year, there was no punishment given.
Well, okay. No,
You were going to get in, steroids were banned,
Right,
and it wasn't until the
because there's-
following year that the punishments actually would then become.
Believe it or not, I actually recall that. I recall when that occurred in the NFL. I
Right.
do remember that. But I think that was as a result of the fact that there was more awareness being made and coming about as a result of the use of illegal substances and performance enhancement at that particular time, which is not the type of performance enhancement that we're used to seeing today. However, this is a different situation. I mean, for God's sake, we're not talking about using, we're talking about drugs. We're talking about a guy going out and purposely hurting another individual on a field for cash. I mean, okay, we're going to amnesty you because, you didn't know any better. Are you serious? I mean,
Well, see, and that's what, because he goes in and he quotes different things where players did similar things and were fined and were not suspended. So how can you suspend these 4 players when you've only fined the other players?
we have all gotten way too litigious in our society.
Oh,
Just getting through to you, son.
and it is,
Oh, no,
and it is
I'm not
very
sure.
full of
Yes.
litigious.
We needed the comic
tell
relief
you.
there. I have a feeling we're going to come back and we're going to address this issue again. I can
Sure.
see a show coming down the line in
Here
the
you go.
future. Thank you very
Some
much.
light bathroom reading.
I will read this one. Yes, I will take that with me and I will read that. Where's my lighter? But no. I could see a show coming down the line very shortly where we might actually revisit this whole situation. There'll be one coming up, I think, sometime around Super Bowl time where we're going to be looking at that. In the meantime, let's go look at 4 games.
Sure.
Because we are into week 15 and we've got some ones here that are going to potentially have some playoff implications. Let's take a look at the first one. Interesting thing, all of our games here are 1 o'clock games. All the games we're looking at are 1 o'clock games on Sunday. And the first one is the New York Giants, who are 8-5, at the Atlanta Falcons, who are 11-2. And wow, hey, the Giants positively dismantled the New Orleans Saints last week, beating them 52-27. And how did they do that? Well, you know my word for it. It's called balance. 135 yards on the ground, 259 yards in the air. Eli Manning had 2 interceptions. He had 4 TDs as well. Touchdowns from Victor Cruz, Hakeem Nicks, Martellus Bennett, Dominique Hickson. They weren't done there, though. How about 2 more touchdowns on the ground? Not from Ahmad Bradshaw. No, they got it from who? David Wilson, who had 100 yards on 13 carries. Now, we haven't said this one too many times this season, but the Falcons lost last week to a 3-9 Carolina Panthers team. They lost 30-20. Matt Ryan put the ball in the air 49 times. And the most amazing thing to me was that they only had 35 rushing yards on 11 carries in the entire game. I mean, it actually appeared to me at times that they weren't even trying to run the ball. Your buddy, Roddy White, boy, he had a rare breakout game, collecting up 9 receptions for 117 yards and a touchdown. Julio Jones did the same with his own touchdown as well. Throw in the other aerial weapons that the Falcons have. How about Tony Gonzalez with 8 receptions? Jaquez Rogers, he went from being a running back to being a kind of a tight end or a wideout, and he was collecting the ball up through the air. However, this is a time of year, Sidekick, where we know, and we've seen it year after year, it seems like season after season, where this is the time of year where the Giants start to really power it up. At the same time, you can't deny the fact that the Falcons can power up that offense themselves, particularly their aerial game. Atlanta is favored in this one by just 1.5. This could be a close one, huh? Where do you see it?
Well, let's take a moment and talk about that piece of worthless trash, Roddy White. What a flippin' little a-hole that guy is.
Oh, boy, no.
All right, I make a trade for this jack wagon
That's
back
fantasy
in week
now,
2 or
folks.
3 in fantasy in week 2 or 3 after he had a good game.
He holds grudges. I don't know what to tell you.
He went the whole season without a single touchdown. As soon as I'm eliminated
goodness.
and the playoffs start, this fool starts grabbing touchdowns. I mean,
I knew it was a bad idea to bring it up. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You shouldn't have talked about Roddy White.
How about the game, though?
Anyway, so
how about the game in real time? How about that?
Let's go on and let's talk about the NFC revered Atlanta Falcons. These guys, I mean, we talked about it last week on the show about overrated, right?
Yeah.
Where,
Yes.
They haven't beat anybody good.
Yep.
They've lost or almost lost to, teams they should have blown out. And here we go, Carolina 3-9, and they lose.
They lost. Yep.
There's no run game.
Yep.
The Giants are coming in this week into Atlanta. They're going to bulldoze the Atlanta Falcons and show them why they'll never win a playoff game.
Oof. You heard it there, right there.
I'm going with the G-Men.
Will not win a playoff game. I'm writing that one down right now. I'm not going to go that far in my prediction, but however, take the G-Men. Come on, it's their time of year, absolutely. And the Falcons, Sidekick,
are frauds.
Are frauds. Take a drink. Okay. Alrighty, let's go over and take a look at another game in that second game of the evening, and that's our Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6-7 at the New Orleans Saints, who are 5-8. Again, that's a 1 o'clock game. All the games we're talking about are 1 o'clock. The Bucs last week lost a close one to the Philadelphia Eagles, 23-21. I'm going to be honest with you, Sidekick. I really tried to muster a little bit of enthusiasm for the Buccaneers today as I was putting my notes together, but I was really having some...
Have you seen their cheerleaders?
Okay. All right. Now. Okay. Yeah, I've got an image. Listen, let's get it straight. The Buccaneers are a yawner team, okay? Then I am really just not impressed with. Josh Freeman is in my opinion, a mediocre quarterback. Last week he was 14-34. Yeah, he had 2 TDs, but he also had a 79.2 QB rating. The running game is one guy and one guy only, and that's Doug Martin. He had 128 yards and a touchdown. Their passing game is really only one person, that's Vincent Jackson, who similarly had a touchdown and 131
another
yards.
useless fantasy pickup.
Oh, this team is one-dimensional, all right? Now, we've discussed the issues with the Saints ad nauseum this year. Nonetheless, I, for one, I'm going to say it again, and I think there are many out there that kind of expected them to be a lot more than they have been this year, all right? And we already mentioned that they took a whooping last week at the hands of the Giants, 52-27.
Well, apparently there's no incentive for them to play.
Thanks to, I don't know, maybe Paul Tagliabue changed that. Listen, it's surprising. I think it's surprising that the Saints are 5-8 with so many weapons on that team. Come on, let's get it straight. Mark Ingram, Darren Sproles, Marquise Colston, Jimmy Graham, Joe Morgan, Pierre Thomas. Oh, did I leave one out? Yes, I left out Drew Brees, who's currently ranked, he's ranked 11th in the league in QB. But he only has a 90.8 QB rating, and this is not really this has not been the Drew Brees year. Let's get it straight.
No.
This is a must-win for the Buccaneers.
They just, for whatever reason, the Saints just have not been clicking this season.
No, they really...
And
I don't know whether it's all the
almost
changes.
like the rhythm is off.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the changes in coaching, and they've gone back and forth, and all the nonsense and the stuff that's swirled around. But you're right. And, I mean, I'm not going to put it completely at the feet of Drew Brees. But we have seen good seasons from Darren Sproles and Ingram and Colston. So, and I'm not taking anything away from Brees' 11th rank. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. But this is a must-win for the Buccaneers, as I just pointed out, if they hope to stay in the wild card hunt. The Saints are a 3.5-point favorite. Are the Bucs done after this weekend, or what?
New Orleans has been kind of hit or miss this season. And we've seen them actually a couple times get shellacked. New Orleans has given up 5.1 yards a carry. I'm going with the Bucs. I think you're going to see a healthy dose of Martin, and I think the Bucs pull this one out in the dome.
Yeah, you've made a good point. The Saints do not have a very good defense, particularly against the run, and I appreciate that nonetheless. I can tell you right now, I'm picking the Saints. I'm picking the Saints on this one. All right, let's go take a look at one that's near to your heart. That's the Minnesota Vikings, who are 7-6 at the St. Louis Rams. We haven't had them featured up here behind us for a while. The Rams are 6-6-1. Again, 1 o'clock. Let's go take a look at the Vikings. And I have recently referred to them numerous times, the Vikings, as probably the most schizophrenic team, or one of them anyhow, in the NFL. Yet, we cannot deny the fact that they're in the discussion for a wild card as well. The Vikings last week surprisingly beat the Bears 21-14. Listen, if we wanted to, we could talk about Christian Ponder, we could talk about Michael Jenkins, or Jarius Wright. But I say forget about it. Let's not talk about them at all, because let's get it straight. It's Adrian Peterson, all right?
Yep.
And only Adrian Peterson that is basically running this team. Last week he had 170 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. And without that guy, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think there's a team in Minnesota. On the other hand, the Rams. I have been praising them for a good portion of the season all year, referring to them as probably one of the most improved teams in the entire league, and I see them continuing to improve, as I pointed out last week. But let's get it straight. That's not coming from Sam Bradford. He's the 22nd ranked quarterback in the entire league. Last week, the Rams did get themselves a W, beating the hapless Bills by a field goal, 15-12. Steven Jackson has had a very, very good season. He's probably going to end up with over 1,000 yards. That would be my suspicion at this point. It's really been the defense, I think, that we've seen so much great improvement from. Odds makers,
Which is not really surprising, given Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, the odds makers are thinking, in this particular matchup, that the Rams defense is coming to play this weekend, and they're making them a 3-point favorite over the Vikes. Are you favoring your Rams as well? Because I know this is a special game for you.
Absolutely. This is my bomb diggity bomb pick. I don't think I've been able to put the Rams up for a bomb diggity bomb this season. So, let's talk about my boys. This season has been all about Legatron and Steven Jackson.
Right.
I don't know if Bradford's really the quarterback for us. Year one he looked good, but he's gotten banged around. I'm not sure he's got his confidence, so I don't know. But having said that, this weekend going into the game, Steven Jackson is 71 yards shy of breaking 10,000 rushing yards for his career.
Yeah.
Yes. There's only been 26 other running backs that have achieved that. He's 100. You mentioned 1,000-yard rushing. He's 164 yards shy of his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard rushing season, with 9 seasons in the NFL. So he's really been a workhorse. He started out the season splitting carries with Richardson, and as the season's progressed, he's been starting to get the bulk of the load as he's been coming on.
Richardson's been in there.
So I'm going to go with the Rams this weekend, as long as they can stop Adrian Peterson. Because as you mentioned, there isn't really anything to the Vikings but Adrian Peterson. So if they can keep him off track and from getting his momentum going, it's going to be a long day for Christian Ponder.
And this will make you very, very happy. I'm picking the Rams as well. So I think that's an automatic. Got to go with the Rams. Go put the money down on them.
Yep. Mike's 3-0 picking them so far this season. So.
Alrighty, last but not least, let's go take a look at the Indianapolis Colts, who are 9-4, at the Houston Texans, who are 11-2. The Colts, in my opinion, have been one of the great comeback stories, really, of this entire season. Andrew Luck, though, despite his 18 touchdown, 18 interception season, which kind of looks like this a little bit on paper, it's kind of odd. He looks like he's getting better each and every week that we see him. The Colts last week, they did beat up the Titans last week. They beat them 27-23. And as I just praised Luck, we can't be thanking Luck for that victory. He threw 2 picks and ended with a 50.6 QB rating in that particular game. What you really got to do in that particular game is you got to thank the Colts D for a touchdown. And that really was the difference in the game. Over on the other side, on Monday night, the Patriots, They made the Texans look really, really mediocre. The Texans recorded only their second loss of the season, but I must be honest, they recorded it with a lot of authority. Good for them, Texans. If you're going to lose, do it well, and you did it, 42-14. Some might say that Matt Schaub just had an off day, an off game, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 68.8 QB rating. The Texans have got Arian Foster, but they didn't use him the way that they should have really last week. Let's get it straight. Although he did have a 1-yard touchdown. The Pats defense in that particular game actually looked really, really impressive. I was shocked at how good they looked against a normally explosive offensive team. This really is more of an important game, I would say, for the Colts than it is for, yeah, right, for the Texans. Yeah, I actually forgot who they were playing. This is actually more of an important game for them, as they're right now in hold for the #1 spot in the wild card. Houston, nonetheless, though, is favored by 8.5 on this one. 8.5. That seems a little high.
Well, we talked about the Texans last week being overrated, and I still feel they're a little bit overrated, but let's not get it twisted. The Indianapolis Colts are not the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Indy's given up 4.7 yards to the per carry for rushing.
Right.
I think there's too many weapons on the Texans team, even though they didn't play last week. For the Colts, I'm going with the Texans on this one.
How about that one? I'm going to go with I am going to go with the Colts on this, and I'll tell you why. I think that the momentum and I think the pressure is on them right now. They need to continue to hold on to that wild card spot. Right now, we're at a particular point in the season where synergy means so much as you move into the playoffs. Give it to the Colts. They've got more to play for. Alrighty, that's our 4 games that we're taking a look at for this week. All right, and real quick, let's run around and and talk it up. How about Fan Junkies? All right, get over there to Fan Junkies. Help out my buddy Jonathan over there. Join up social media. All right. As I pointed out last week, we're coming into the playoffs. This is a great time to be jumping in on that. All right.
Yep.
Fan Junkies Radio. My gosh, Jonathan and I are having a great time over on that. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tomorrow we got a very, very different and special program coming up. It's going to be really, really mixed up. Excuse me. But that program right now, hundreds of thousands of listens we've gotten over there. I want to thank Chris Heidel over at Herb FM Sports.
Yep.
They have been religiously now for like the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, have been rebroadcasting our 5 Minutes at the Frat House shows over there. That's herbfm.com. All right, go over there, check it out. The schedule rotates around, so you gotta check onto the website and see when we actually were on. We were on tonight with last week's show.
Yep.
FratHouseSports.net. All right, I got some new content coming up there. Hopefully tomorrow it's going to be getting up there, and of course all of our videos are there as well. All right, we got our show next week. That'll be the show right before Christmas. That's our last show before Christmas. So.
Yep.
We'll be coming here and we'll be bringing you all the gifts of 5 Minutes at the Frat House next week. But before we do that, there's something you got to do for us, and you know what it is. You got to keep us real. You got to keep us live, and you got to keep us going. We'll see you next week. See you then.